gamer and gamerettes, it is I, Adam Ellison, at PAX East 2013, and I am standing here with Nick, one of the developers for Elder Scrolls Online. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome, awesome. So first question. I think a lot of people have the fear that MMOs are going to be taking up a lot of time to get really into the game and see a lot of the content. Are you alleviating any of that stress somehow with Elder Scrolls Online to make it a little bit easier to get into it?
I think, we try to make the on-ramp into the game as smooth as possible, because we know people are coming from various backgrounds, from MMOs, from Elder Scrolls, or maybe they're trying out for the first time. But I think this is one of the things that people really love about the Elder Scrolls franchise, is that world is just filled with stuff, and you can explore it for so long. And that was really the same design direction we chose, is we wanted this world to be packed with things to do. And after we get you through that initial, hey, who am I, what am I generally trying to build towards, of course you could change that midstream like in an Elder Scrolls game, we really want you to get that feeling of like, oh my god, I can go anywhere.
Awesome, awesome. So, going off of what you just said, a lot of players, a lot of MMOs have certain things to hook players in and keep them coming back. Could you alleviate or expand on any of that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a number of different end games. I think, just generally speaking, what people talk to, what happens when I get to level cap or I start maxing out my skills. And I'll tell you, we have a few different systems that really support continued play and for a very long time. And the first is our progression. You have all these skills and abilities that you can learn, but when you're level 50, you're not even remotely through them. You won't have all your skills maxed, and you'll have picked up many more on your actual leveling experience that you can continue to max and learn new abilities for as you level. Let's say you're 20% of the way through it when you actually hit level 50. As far as activities that you can do this in, you can PvP in this large, persistent territory control game, which is just endless fun, and and it lasts forever. So you can take territory, you can lose territory, you can defend, you can attack, you can make raids, you can hold choke points, and then for the PvE end game, we have this sort of story progression that happens for every instance in the game. So we basically have built end games into every style of gameplay that people have, as well as a progression system that supports playing through all of them and continuing to make your character stronger.
So one of the main complaints about MMOs in general is there seems to be a big barrier just to enter. There's a lot of content, kind of could be overwhelming for some players. Is Elder Scrolls, let's say, for the hardcore MMO players, or is it also accessible for the beginners, let's say?
I think it's largely based on people who either would like to play an Elder Scrolls game, a traditional single player, the control scheme of that and the style of game of that, and also for people who are familiar with MMOs. We really tried to make both of those people play together. And if I have to talk about, I guess, where it falls on the spectrum, it's much more in the Elder Scrolls category. So if you felt like the ramp up of Elder Scrolls and the activity of Elder Scrolls and the difficulty of Elder Scrolls was something that you really enjoyed, and in the example of Skyrim and Oblivion, I think you'll feel right at home in our game.
You just mentioned single player with Elder Scrolls games, and one of the most interesting aspects you guys have included would be the moral choices that players get faced with. Are we going to be seeing a lot of that in Elder Scrolls Online?
Absolutely. That's one of the key tenets of the game. And we have numerous systems that allow this to occur in the sort of shared space of an MMO without having other people force choices upon me or randomly seeing my guys disappear because we're in different phases or something along those lines, which we're excited to let people see. But yes, morally ambiguous choices are a key part of the game, and they'll stay with you through your leveling process. You'll make allies or lose allies based off of that, make enemies or lose enemies based off of that, and that's something that really is a hallmark of our entire playthrough of the game initially.
So going off of the single-player games, you obviously focus on one part of the world for each game. Now with Elder Scrolls Online, will we be seeing old regions coming back, or just Skyrim? What are we going to be seeing?
So, I mean, it was basically the 8-bit days of Daggerfall the last time you could explore all of Tamriel. So we're really excited that people will get the opportunity to do that. But yes, you can go back to Skyrim, and we're set 1,000 years in the past, so you could go visit Riften, for example, and you would recognize the waterways and the canals because those have been around for the entire time, but some of the structures will look a little different. It'll still look like Riften, but it's clearly from a different time frame. There's the continent, or province of Cyrodiil, which is where the game Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion took place. That is entirely explorable in our game, and that's where the entire PvP battle occurs. And we started with the exact same height map that they used in that game. We just imported it into ours, and we made a few modifications for PvP balance so that it wouldn't be, you know, unfair to one side or the other. But for the most part, it will be completely recognizable. Where you saw a structure in the past, you'll see one now, and a lot of times what you see is ruins in Oblivion. But in our timeline, they're actually fully built structure, which you can then ruin. So, you know, there's a lot of continuity with the lore and the world that, you know, ties into the previous single-player games that you'll find in ours.
Well, Nick, it sounds like it's an exciting game. It's looking absolutely gorgeous just from the screens that we've seen. So, guys, again, we're at PAX East 2013. Nick, thank you for the time. It was awesome talking to you. Like I said, I'm very excited for the game.
Can't wait to get you in there.
All right. Well, guys, keep on gaming at home. Talk to you soon.